Welcome back to ZE Coins. Today's video is dedicated to one of the most talked about classic American coins among collectors and history lovers alike, the United States of America 1940 Mint Mark 1 cent Lincoln Wheat Penny. This is not just a coin. It is a witness to history, a symbol of everyday life in a changing nation, and a powerful reminder that even the smallest objects can carry great value and meaning. The era behind the coin. To truly understand the importance of the 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny, we must first step back into the world in which it was created. The early 1940s were a turning point for the United States. The nation was emerging from the shadow of the Great Depression while standing on the brink of global conflict. Factories were preparing for war production, families were learning to live with uncertainty, and the American spirit was defined by hard work and hope. Coins minted during this period were not luxury items. They were tools of daily survival. Every cent mattered. A single penny could buy a newspaper, help complete a purchase, or be dropped into a jar for future needs. The 1940 wheat penny was born into this environment, circulating among millions of Americans who relied on it without ever imagining it would one day be studied, collected, and admired. The Lincoln Wheat Penny design. The Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of the most iconic coin designs in American history. Introduced in the early 20th century, it was the first regular-issue United States coin to feature a real person. Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the front was chosen to honor his legacy and to symbolize unity, strength, and perseverance. On the front side, Lincoln's profile faces right, calm and dignified. His expression reflects leadership and moral resolve, qualities that resonated deeply with Americans during difficult times. The design is clean, respectful, and instantly recognizable. The reverse side features two wheat ears framing the words, 1 cent and United States of America. These wheat stalks represent prosperity, agriculture, and growth. They remind us of America's farming roots and the importance of nourishment and labor. By the time 1940 arrived, this design had already become deeply familiar to the public, yet it still carried strong symbolic power. Understanding mint marks. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny is the mint mark. Mint marks tell us where a coin was produced, and they play a crucial role in determining a coin's desirability among collectors. During this time, pennies were struck at different mints across the country, each contributing to the nation's coin supply. A mint mark is a small letter found on the coin, usually below the date. It may seem insignificant, but for collectors, it is a key detail. It connects the coin to a specific location, a specific group of workers, and a specific production process. Each mint had its own standards, pressures, and output levels, which means coins from different mints can show subtle differences in appearance and quality. The 1940 wheat penny with a mint mark stands out because it represents a precise moment in American minting history, when demand for coins was steady and production quality remained high before wartime metal restrictions began to reshape coinage. Condition and preservation. When discussing the value and worth of any collectible coin, condition is everything. The 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny can be found in many states, from heavily worn examples to beautifully preserved specimens that appear almost untouched by time. A well-preserved coin retains sharp details in Lincoln's hair, clear lettering, and strong definition in the wheat stalks on the reverse. The original copper color, whether bright red, reddish-brown, or brown, also plays a role in how collectors view a coin. Coins that have avoided harsh cleaning, damage, or corrosion are especially prized. What makes this penny so interesting is that many were saved by ordinary people. During the mid-20th century, Americans often set aside wheat pennies simply because they looked different or older. As a result, some 1940 pennies survived in excellent condition, waiting decades to be rediscovered. Historical significance. The 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny is more than metal. It is a time capsule. It reflects a nation on the edge of transformation. Within a year, the United States would enter the Second World War, and everyday materials, including copper, would become strategically important. Coins minted just before this shift carry special historical weight. They represent the final moments of normalcy before rationing, material shortages, and dramatic economic changes. Holding a 1940 wheat penny is like holding the last quiet breath before history took a sharp turn. Collectors often feel a deep emotional connection to coins from this era. They imagine the hands that once held them: factory workers, farmers, soldiers, children, and shopkeepers. Each coin traveled its own path, silently witnessing personal stories now lost to time. Why collectors love this coin? Collectors are drawn to the 1940 mint mark wheat penny for several reasons. First, it sits at a crossroads of history, linking the early 20th century with the wartime era. Second, it offers a perfect balance of age and availability. It is old enough to feel historic, yet not so rare that it feels unreachable. Another reason is its classic design. The wheat penny is beloved for its simplicity and symbolism. Many collectors begin their journey with wheat cents, and the 1940 issue often becomes a highlight within a collection. Finally, the challenge of finding high-quality examples keeps interest alive. While common worn pieces exist, truly exceptional specimens are far more difficult to locate, making the search both exciting and rewarding. The emotional value of a small coin. Beyond charts, grades, and market discussions, there is an emotional value attached to the 1940 Lincoln wheat penny. It represents continuity. It connects generations. A grandparent may have used this very coin in daily life, while a grandchild now studies it under a magnifying glass, appreciating details once overlooked. This emotional connection is what transforms a simple penny into a treasured artifact. It reminds us that history is not only found in textbooks or museums, but also in everyday objects that survive against all odds. Final thoughts as we come to the end of this journey. Remember that the 1940 mint mark Lincoln wheat penny is not just about money. It is about history, craftsmanship, and the human stories woven into metal. It teaches us that value is not always obvious at first glance, and that even the smallest denomination can carry the weight of a nation's past. That same coin has transformed into something far greater than loose change. It has become a storyteller, a historical artifact, and for collectors, a symbol of rarity and value. This is the story of the United States of America 1942 D mint mark 1 cent Lincoln wheat penny, a coin whose worth goes far beyond its size. The year 1942 was not an ordinary time in American history. The United States had entered World War II, and the entire nation was mobilizing for war. Factories shifted to military production, families faced rationing, and citizens across the country felt the weight of global conflict. Every object from that era carries a sense of urgency and purpose, and coins are no exception. Money was constantly in motion, supporting war bonds, paying factory wages, and fueling the economy during a time when every cent mattered. The Lincoln wheat penny itself was already a familiar design by 1942. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it was the first regularly circulating American coin to feature a real historical figure. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse displays Lincoln's calm yet resolute profile, symbolizing unity, strength, and perseverance. By the time 1942 arrived, this image had become deeply ingrained in American culture. On the reverse, the wheat ears framing the words, 1 cent, represented prosperity, growth, and the agricultural backbone of the nation. Even during wartime, these wheat stalks reminded Americans of the land that sustained them and the hope of abundance after hardship. This design would continue until 1958, making wheat pennies some of the most beloved coins in U.S. numismatic history. What makes the 1942 D mint mark penny especially fascinating is the story behind its creation. During World War II, copper was a critical resource. It was needed for ammunition, wiring, and countless military applications. As a result, the United States Mint began experimenting with alternative metals, leading to the famous steel cents of 1943. However, in 1942, the penny was still primarily composed of copper, making it one of the last issues before major material changes took place. The D mint mark tells us this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Located in Colorado, the Denver facility played a crucial role in producing coinage for the western United States. Coins from this mint often had lower production numbers compared to Philadelphia, especially in certain years. That subtle letter beneath the date instantly adds a layer of intrigue and desirability for collectors who understand its significance. When you think about how many of these coins were produced, it's easy to assume they are all common. Millions were minted, circulated, and spent without a second thought. They bought newspapers, candy bars, and cups of coffee. They were dropped into jars, lost between couch cushions, and forgotten in drawers. But time has a way of separating the ordinary from the extraordinary. The true value of a 1942 wheat penny lies in its condition. Coins that survive decades of circulation often show heavy wear, flattened details, and darkened surfaces. These are historically interesting but not especially rare. However, coins that somehow avoided circulation, protected from scratches, corrosion, and handling, are a completely different story. These exceptional examples are where history and rarity collide. Mint state coins, especially those with strong luster, sharp details, and minimal imperfections, are incredibly difficult to find. Each year that passes makes them even scarcer. Collectors and grading experts carefully examine every surface, looking for original mint shine, crisp wheat lines, and a clean portrait of Lincoln. When all of these elements come together, the coin becomes something remarkable. The emotional appeal of this penny is just as powerful as its physical characteristics. It represents a moment in time when the United States stood at a crossroads. Every citizen was contributing in some way, whether on the battlefield or the home front. This coin was part of that effort, quietly moving through the economy while history unfolded around it. Collectors are drawn to coins like this because they offer a tangible connection to the past. You are not just owning metal, you are holding a piece of American resilience. The 1942 wheat penny symbolizes endurance, sacrifice, and continuity. It survived war, economic shifts, and decades of change, emerging as a prized collectible in the modern era. Another reason this coin captures so much attention is its place within a broader collection. Wheat pennies are often the starting point for new collectors, yet they continue to challenge even the most experienced numismatists. Completing a high-grade set requires patience, knowledge, and sometimes a bit of luck. The 1942 stands as one of those key dates that can elevate a collection from ordinary to exceptional. Stories circulate in the collecting community about these pennies being discovered in old family collections, inherited jars, or long-forgotten rolls. Each discovery fuels the imagination. It reminds people that valuable history can still be hiding in plain sight. The idea that a single cent could be worth a small fortune is both thrilling and inspiring. The craftsmanship of the coin also deserves appreciation. Despite the pressures of wartime production, the Denver Mint managed to produce coins with impressive detail and consistency. The engravers, press operators, and quality inspectors all played a role in creating something that would endure for generations. Their work, often overlooked at the time, is now admired under magnification by collectors worldwide. As interest in historical coins continues to grow, the 1942 Lincoln wheat penny remains a standout example of how context, condition, and history converge to create value. It appeals to historians, investors, and hobbyists alike. Each group sees something different in it, yet all agree on its significance. In the end, this small copper coin proves that size does not determine importance. From the chaos of World War II to the quiet shelves of modern collections, it has traveled an incredible journey. It reminds us that even the simplest objects can carry extraordinary stories and, under the right circumstances, extraordinary worth. We are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and talked about coins in American numismatic history, a coin that looks simple at first glance but carries a powerful story beneath its worn copper surface. This is the story of the United States of America 1944 Mint Mark 1 cent Lincoln wheat penny, a coin shaped by war, survival, and quiet rarity. Imagine holding a single penny in your hand. It feels light, almost insignificant, yet this 1-cent coin was born during one of the most intense moments in world history. The year is 1944. World War II is still raging. American factories are running day and night. Metal is precious, manpower is limited, and every resource matters. Even the smallest coin must adapt to the needs of the nation. This is the environment that gave life to the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny struck at the Denver Mint, proudly marked with the small but powerful letter D beneath the date. To truly appreciate this coin, we must step back and understand its design and symbolism. The obverse features the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, a design first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of his birth. Sculpted by Victor David Brenner, Lincoln's calm and thoughtful expression reflects unity, strength, and endurance, qualities desperately needed by the nation during wartime. Above his head reads the word liberty, and behind him the motto "In God We Trust," a phrase that held deep meaning during uncertain times. Turn the coin over and you will see the classic wheat ears framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, with the motto E pluribus unum above. These wheat stalks represent prosperity, agriculture, and the backbone of American survival. This reverse design, used from 1909 until 1958, has become one of the most beloved images in U.S. coinage history. For collectors, the wheat penny is not just a coin, it is a symbol of an era. Now let us talk about what makes the 1944 wheat penny especially intriguing. During World War II, copper was needed for ammunition and military equipment. In 1943, the U.S. Mint famously switched to zinc-coated steel pennies to conserve copper. However, by 1944, some copper became available again, mostly recycled from shell casings used in training exercises. This meant the 1944 pennies returned to a copper-based composition, but not in the same way as before the war. These coins were struck from recycled wartime materials, giving them a unique historical fingerprint. The Denver Mint played a major role in producing these coins. Millions were struck, yet not all survived equally. Many were heavily circulated, damaged, melted, or lost over time. What separates ordinary examples from extraordinary ones is condition, strike quality, luster, and subtle mint characteristics. A well-preserved 1944 wheat penny can display sharp details in Lincoln's hair, a strong wheat ear definition, and a rich reddish or reddish-brown tone that collectors dream of, but the story does not end with design and history. This coin holds a special place because of its potential value when found in exceptional condition or with rare characteristics. While many people still find wheat pennies in old jars, inherited collections, or forgotten drawers, only a small fraction meet the strict standards that elevate them into the highest tiers of collectible coins. These are the coins that spark excitement at auctions, coin shows, and private sales. Collectors examine these pennies under magnification, searching for precise details. The mint mark D must be clear and properly placed beneath the date. The surfaces should be clean, free from heavy scratches, corrosion, or cleaning marks. Original mint luster is highly prized, especially when it has not been altered by time or mishandling. The color also plays a huge role, with bright red examples being far rarer than brown or red-brown ones. What truly fuels the fascination is the emotional connection. This penny may have passed through the hands of factory workers, soldiers' families, or shopkeepers during wartime America. It may have bought a loaf of bread, a newspaper, or candy for a child while news of the war echoed on the radio. Every worn edge and faded surface carries silent stories of daily life during one of history's defining moments. For YouTube viewers, this coin represents hope and discovery. The idea that something so small, something often ignored, could hold such importance and worth is thrilling. It encourages people to look twice at what they already own, to explore history through tangible objects, and to appreciate the craftsmanship and intention behind everyday currency. Over the decades, the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny has become a cornerstone for collectors of wartime coins. It is frequently studied, graded, and compared, not just for its metal content or rarity, but for what it represents. It stands at the crossroads of necessity and tradition, modern industry and classic design. It reminds us that even during times of crisis, beauty and meaning endure. As time goes on, fewer pristine examples remain. Coins are lost, damaged, or altered, making high-grade survivors increasingly desirable. This natural attrition adds to the mystique and demand surrounding this penny. Serious collectors understand that condition is everything, and the finest known examples occupy a special place in numismatic history. This is why the 1944 wheat penny continues to capture attention generation after generation. It is more than a coin. It is a witness to history, a product of wartime resilience, and a reminder that value is not always obvious at first glance. Whether you are a seasoned collector or someone just beginning to explore the world of coins, this penny invites curiosity and respect. And now, after understanding its history, design, significance, and collector appeal, we come to the number that captures everyone's attention, the ultimate expression of its worth when found in extraordinary condition and rarity. At the highest level, this remarkable coin has reached a value of $46,270. It carries stories, mystery, and collector passion. This video dives deep into one remarkable piece of American numismatic history, the United States of America 1950 D Mint Mark 1-cent Lincoln Wheat Penny. A coin that may look ordinary at first glance, yet holds layers of meaning, history, and fascination that continue to captivate collectors and history lovers alike. To truly appreciate this penny, we must step back into the year 1950. America was entering a new decade filled with hope, tension, and transformation. World War II had ended only a few years earlier. Soldiers were returning home, suburbs were expanding, televisions were entering living rooms, and the nation was redefining itself on the global stage. In the middle of this era of change, the United States Mint continued producing coins that reflected stability and tradition. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was one such symbol, quietly carrying the weight of American values in copper form. The face of Abraham Lincoln on the 1-cent coin was already familiar by 1950. Introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, this design was revolutionary. It was the first regularly circulating United States coin to feature a real historical person. Lincoln's calm expression, strong profile, and dignified presence gave the penny a sense of respect and continuity. By 1950, this portrait had become deeply embedded in American identity, a daily reminder of unity, perseverance, and leadership. Turning the coin over reveals the iconic wheat ears framing the words, 1 cent, and United States of America. This wheat reverse design symbolized abundance, agriculture, and national prosperity. It reflected a country built on hard work and fertile land. In 1950, many Americans still had strong ties to farming and rural life, making this design especially meaningful. The wheat ears were more than decoration, they were a visual story of growth, survival, and shared effort. One of the most intriguing details of this penny is the small letter D found beneath the date. This mint mark tells us the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. Each mint facility had its own character, production methods, and subtle variations. The Denver Mint was known for producing strong, well-struck coins, often with crisp details. Collectors pay close attention to mint marks because they help identify origin, rarity, and historical context. That tiny D transforms this penny from a simple coin into a specific artifact of American minting history. The 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny was made primarily of copper, giving it a warm, reddish-brown glow when well preserved. Holding it in your hand, you can feel its solid weight and smooth edges. Over decades, copper reacts with air and touch, creating unique tones and patina. Each coin ages differently, meaning no two examples are exactly alike. This individuality is part of the charm and allure for collectors who value originality and natural aging. During its time in circulation, this penny was everywhere. It jingled in pockets, rested in cash registers, and traveled across states in purses and wallets. Children saved them in jars, adults used them without a second thought, and shopkeepers counted them daily. Few people imagined that decades later, these same pennies would be studied, graded, and admired. The 1950 D Wheat Penny lived a hard-working life, mirroring the spirit of the era itself. What truly elevates the appeal of this coin today is its condition. Collectors carefully examine details like Lincoln's hair, the sharpness of the wheat stalks, and the clarity of the lettering. Coins that escaped heavy wear, damage, or harsh cleaning are especially desirable. Even small differences can dramatically change how a collector views a piece. The 1950 D Wheat Penny is a perfect example of how condition transforms a common object into a treasured collectible. Beyond metal and design, this penny matters because it connects generations. It links modern collectors with grandparents and great-grandparents who lived through the 1950s. It serves as a tangible reminder of post-war optimism, American industry, and the everyday economy. In a digital world, holding a historic coin feels grounding and real. The 1950 Lincoln wheat penny is not just money, it is memory preserved in copper. Coins like this one tell stories without words. They speak of factories running day and night, of hands exchanging change across lunch counters, and of a nation building its future one small step at a time. Numismatics is not only about collecting, it is about storytelling. Each scratch, tone, and detail adds another chapter. The 1950 wheat penny stands as a silent narrator of its time. As we reach the end of this journey, take a moment to appreciate how something so small can carry such weight. The United States of America 1950 mint Mark 1 cent Lincoln wheat penny is a bridge between past and present. It invites curiosity, respect, and admiration. Whether you are a seasoned collector or someone discovering coins for the first time, this penny offers a powerful reminder that history often hides in plain sight. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating final chapters of an iconic American coin, the United States of America 1958 mint Mark 1 cent Lincoln wheat penny. This is not just a coin. It is a witness to history, a symbol of change, and a collector's dream that continues to capture attention and admiration. The year 1958 holds a very special place in American numismatic history. It was the final year the Lincoln wheat penny was struck for circulation. For nearly half a century, from 1909 onward, the wheat penny had represented everyday American life. It passed through the hands of factory workers, farmers, shopkeepers, soldiers, and children buying candy at the corner store. By 1958, America was standing confidently in the post-war era. The nation was booming with optimism, innovation, and industrial strength. Automobiles filled the highways, suburbs expanded, and American manufacturing was at its peak. The humble penny, still bearing the familiar wheat stalks on its reverse, quietly marked the end of an era. Now let us focus on the D mint mark. This small letter, placed just below the date on the obverse of the coin, tells us that it was struck at the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint played a crucial role in supplying coins for a growing nation, and in 1958 it was working at full capacity. Millions of pennies were produced there, yet not all of them were created equal. Some coins were struck with sharper details, stronger luster, and cleaner surfaces. These are the coins that collectors seek today, especially when preserved in exceptional condition. The design of the Lincoln wheat penny is itself a masterpiece of American coinage. On the front, we see the dignified profile of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's calm and thoughtful expression reflects the values he stood for: unity, strength, and perseverance. Around him are the words, "In God we trust," liberty, and the date. This design was revolutionary when it was introduced, as Lincoln became the first real historical figure to appear on a circulating United States coin. By 1958, this image had become deeply ingrained in American culture. Turn the coin over, and the reverse displays two simple wheat stalks framing the words, 1 cent and United States of America. The wheat symbolizes prosperity, agriculture, and growth, values that were especially meaningful in the early 20th century. By the late 1950s, however, America was moving toward a more modern image, and the wheat design was about to be replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. That makes the 1958 wheat penny not just another coin, but the closing note of a long and beloved design. What truly elevates the 1958 wheat penny is its condition and the story of how it has survived. Many of these coins were heavily circulated. They were dropped on sidewalks, scraped across counters, and stored loosely in jars and drawers. Over time, most lost their original shine and sharp details. Finding one today that looks almost as fresh as the day it left the Denver Mint is rare and exciting. Such coins often display rich red color, strong luster, and crisp details in Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat, as well as fully defined wheat stalks on the reverse. Collectors are especially drawn to coins that have been carefully preserved or professionally graded. Grading evaluates the coin's condition, strike quality, and surface preservation. A high-grade example of the 1958 wheat penny stands out dramatically from the average circulated piece. It becomes not just a coin, but a miniature time capsule, preserving the craftsmanship and metal quality of its era. There is also an emotional side to this coin that cannot be measured. For many collectors, the wheat penny was their introduction to coin collecting. People remember searching through rolls of pennies, hoping to find wheat backs, and feeling a small thrill each time they did. The 1958 D wheat penny often represents the last wheat penny someone found in circulation, or the one passed down by a parent or grandparent. It carries nostalgia, memory, and personal history. From an investment perspective, this coin has steadily gained attention. While millions were minted, demand remained strong for top-quality examples. Collectors appreciate it as a key end-of-series coin, marking the conclusion of the wheat penny era. Its connection to the Denver Mint, combined with its historical timing, gives it a unique place in American numismatics. As time goes on, fewer high-quality examples remain available, increasing interest and desirability. Another factor that adds to the allure of this coin is the copper composition. Made primarily of copper, the penny has a warm, rich tone that ages beautifully when properly stored. The metal itself reflects a time before major changes in coin composition occurred in later decades. Holding a 1958 D wheat penny is like holding a piece of solid American industrial heritage. Collectors around the world admire this coin not only for its potential worth, but for what it represents. It stands at the crossroads of tradition and change. It is the final wheat penny, the last breath of a classic design before a modern symbol took its place. It reminds us that even the smallest objects can tell big stories. As you imagine this coin, picture it freshly struck in Denver, shining under mint lights, then traveling across the country through countless hands before finally resting in a collection where its beauty and significance are fully appreciated. This journey is what gives the 1958 D Mint Mark 1-cent Lincoln wheat penny its enduring charm. In the world of coin collecting, stories matter just as much as metal and condition. This coin's story is rich, complete, and deeply American. It connects the past to the present and reminds us that history is often hidden in plain sight, waiting to be noticed and valued. And when all of these elements come together, history, rarity, condition, and collector passion, the value of this remarkable coin reaches $32,270.